Hello and welcome to First Person. First Person is all about the who, what, when, where, why, and how. We ask a random question and then we let each person have the last word. This is First Person.
Dr. Susan Kegerise. I'm the superintendent of Susquehanna Township School District here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The district has about 3,000 students in it. Okay. So I lead up an administrative team of central administrators, principals, building folks, directors, and we have a staff of wonderful teachers here at the district as well. The students attending our School of the Arts are also our own high school students. They are students that have chosen at this point to take a course of study that is under our School of the Arts. Right now, because it was our pilot year, we'll be going into our second year next year. We have students that have chosen either to go into the visual arts, the performing arts, or the fashion design class. Well, I think our School of the Arts is a great vehicle for students who have a strength in the arts, who have an interest in the arts, who want to pursue those strengths and interests. I think the students that are in our classes now are very fulfilled and feel they're able to use and the strengths they have and learn, build upon them. Whether or not they go on further to build a future in the arts is questionable, but I think many of the young people that are in these classes hope to see themselves in a career that is related to the arts in some sense. Well, I think as a school superintendent, there's a lot of duties, and I think one of the ones I enjoy most is working with our students and creating these, help to create these initiatives for them. I think there's always that managerial end and that fiscal end that everybody faces of making sure that we're fiscally responsible to our taxpayers and making sure that every child here reaches their full potential. So we want to design programs for the students that have rigor and relevance. We try to make sure that our courses are rigorous, so when they do go to post-secondary education, they're well versed in what they need to be versed in, that they're strong in their content area. We also want to make sure that our courses are relevant, so students know the reason for their learning, how will this connect to the real world. And so we try to create, and I'm very much in favor of creating experiences for students that connect them to the real world, so to speak, careers, post-secondary education, things that they can see they're doing now that will have meaning later in their lives. You know, I think our goals are to create schools within our high school, so to speak, that students will be able to attend and once again use their strengths and their interests and to really envelop themselves in those interests and strengths. So if you are a student that is an art student or that you have a propensity toward the arts, be it visual, performing, or fashion design, digital photography, there's a plethora of subjects or interests that students have, that they'd be able to actually envelop themselves in that during the day, and how wonderful to be able to immerse yourself in that study. And so we want to provide them with core curricular subjects to make sure that they're strong, but tie that into their strengths so they can immerse themselves in the arts, because it is what they can grow on, and it is what brings meaning to their lives. Well, I think as the School of the Arts grows under the auspices of the high school, I think our goal is to make sure that our students make some very relevant connections with universities, if that's where they choose to pursue after they graduate from our high school. If they choose to go to a university or a college rather than going right into the workforce, that we make connections with those universities and get them familiar with not only the university and personnel at the community, but give them an open door or a pathway where they're familiar with what they're going to find there, and they are also familiar with all the choices that they will have when they choose the subjects or the course of study that they want to when they get there. The other thing is, if a student chooses to go right into a career from here or go to a different course of study. Maybe they want to get a 2-year degree, or they want to go for a certificate, that we make sure we give them the tools in which to do that and give them the knowledge of what's out there so what they have an idea. A good example of that is in our fashion class. This isn't just a design class. We talk about the fashion industry from start to finish, the marketing, the retail, all that's enveloped in that whole industry that we call fashion. So students become aware of all the places that they may want to fit in if they're interested in fashion. It doesn't have to be that they're a designer. They may want to be in the marketing field. They may want to be in the retail field. They may want to work with designers. They may even want to be in a digital field that has something to do with fashion. So there's a lot of choices they will have, and I think we do our students a service by making sure they understand what those choices are and then preparing them for them. I came here in 2006 as a curriculum director. I became superintendent, the current position I hold, in 2009. Well, when we decided to form our School of the Arts, we first formulated some committees that were comprised of parents, teachers, some community members, and administration. We had committee meetings on a weekly basis. Dr. Tasher, who works for the district, ran the committee meetings and also facilitated some visits to other schools around the state who have specialized in the arts. So they did their homework, so to speak, came up with all the background, looked at the research, and decided tackled that question: what would we like to see in our School of the Arts? We certainly wanted to have varied strands for students to choose from that were very strong. We wanted to make sure that included bringing in community and artists and residents to work with our students as well as our own staff, to bring them the very best that we could and be able to expose them in not only statewide programs, but open up the arts world on a global measure for them as well. After the committees got together and finished their work, we presented it to the school board. Our program was approved, and we decided to start with just our performing, visual, and fashion design strands. We will be expanding that. We will be bringing on dance and vocal music very shortly, and then hopefully afterwards expanding it to some film editing, digital photography. And from there we will be adding courses for our students. But for the time being, we are very pleased with what we see. We continue to assess as we go along. We will be lengthening the time that students will be able to spend within our School of the Arts. And so each year, this was our first year, but each year we get a little stronger. And I think we've seen evidence that we've been very successful in our classes that we've put in. The students are very successful. They've made some very valuable connections with folks in the art world, and that's kind of the birth of our program and how it began. I've been doing this for a long time, and I think there is a certain satisfaction you get when you see a child, and I started out in the elementary levels, and but any student, when you see that light bulb go on and you see that satisfaction of I've just learned something new, or I feel successful. And I think when people talk about the impact that a teacher has on a student, or they talk about the impact education has on children, I think that cannot be overemphasized enough. I think when students move on into their careers and as grown-up adults in the working community, they take with them in the experiences that they get in schools. They take with them the feeling of success that they had, whether it be a connection with a certain person, whether it be a connection with doesn't necessarily have to be a teacher. Could have been a guidance counselor, could have been a coach. But I think if you talk to anybody, they'll always go back to, well, I remember when I was in school and someone give me this advice, or someone believed in me. And I think that's an unbelievable satisfying feeling that you've made that impact on a child. I think that when we're in education, sometimes it's very easy to get hung up on the management piece and and all the politics of public education. But when it boils down to, it's about the kids. Here at Susquehanna, we want folks that are very student-oriented. It's not about the adults, it's about the children, it's about the students, and it's about making them successful, making them feel that they can do anything and they can have that background that we need to offer them, and that they are important, and that's where our emphasis needs to be. So that's really why I do what I do, and I think if you ask most people here why they do what they do, they'll give you pretty much the same answer. We started with our School of the Arts for a couple reasons. One being, I think we watched artistic students seeking other places where they could fulfill that thirst for what they wanted to do. They wanted to immerse themselves in an art program, a theater arts, a performing arts. They really were not, I don't think we were fulfilling that need. However, when we began this program, and we do begin saying we can fulfill this needs, I think we can do it better than anybody. We have the means for professional development. We have the means to make connections with community folks, with artists, with universities. What better than a public school who has all those resources at their fingertips to open that door and let those folks in to be able to have our children be exposed to them. So I think the main reason, as I say, is I think we saw a need for students who had that desire, and we felt we weren't fulfilling it. I think secondly, once we started to see the children respond to this program, our vision at the high school here is to create several schools under the auspices of our high school. We have an engineering program coming up, we'll have a business program coming up, etc. But the arts, I think, first, because it was a more visible need. I think we had students in a lot of theaters outside of the school district seeking instruction outside of the school district. We have so many institutions there that out in the community and across the state that deal with theater arts. Why not be able to have in central Pennsylvania a place where those services and that expertise can come to us, and our students can have it right here. We can have people come in and do classes or courses that they would never be able to be exposed to in one or two places. We can bring them in here. So I think that's one of the reasons we started the arts first. I think the reason why this would be beneficial for parents to say, let me look at this School of the Arts, and is this a choice for my child? I think some of the things they're going to see are that as a public school, once again, we can offer amazing resources for students in a sense that we connect with universities, we connect with artists, and we have those resources and networks within the district to do that and the power to do that. I think secondly, we can provide here just a plethora of opportunities for students when it comes to choices that we want to bring for them. In other words, we started with the performing arts, the visual arts, the fashion design. We also now will widen this, as I said, to dance, to vocal music. We have talked to Juilliard to send us interns. We have talked to folks in Pennsylvania that run ballet schools and that are world-renowned, that have offered to partner with us. And so right now the sky's the limit. I think we are pioneering new fields. And in central Pennsylvania, what better a place right now to open up a School of the Arts, bring in the experts and have a school here that allows our students to get the best of where they would go anywhere, just to get what I think they would have to travel far to get. We are centrally located. We don't have a lot of those schools or those resources open for students. And when we started the school, our committee went across the state and looked at what other schools have. And we can bring that here. So I think coming here affords a student not only the rigors of the program, the relevance of the program, but offers them a kind of a normal high school environment as well. Well, that's actually a good point. I think students like the comfort level of being with students that have like interests. And so, for a time in their day, they're going to be able to be with students that share their strengths and interests, feel safe to be those risk takers. We have folks teaching our courses that are experts in the field, that know exactly how to nurture a strength and how to nurture that interest. And I think that helps students feel secure and safe within the school or the choice that they've made. And once again, they're under the auspices of the high school. So, all the safety and security that we want to provide for our own students, that safe environment, they are also covered under that blanket as well. In order to join the School of the Arts here at Susquehanna Township High School, we ask that students apply for the program. There will be an introductory interview, and there will be an audition. We have those pieces put into place on our website. It's www.hannasd.org. You may go on Susquehanna Township website and find out all the information. The application will be online, and you'll be able to apply to our school. We, once again, will be adding courses next year and accepting more students from across the state. And actually, I shouldn't just say from across the state, we'll be accepting students from across the country. And it's a pretty easy process, I think. We will have that all made available for anyone interested on our website. We have a panel of folks that do the interview, and I think basically we look for students who seriously want to join the School of the Arts, and we talk a little bit about why they'd like to do that, what they'd like to see themselves get out of that program, where their interest lies. Is it the performing arts? Is it the visual arts? Is it the fashion design? Is it vocal music? Is it dance? Is it modern dance? Is it ballet? So those kinds of things, we sit and explain to parents and students exactly what the program entails and see what direction they would like to go in. After we find that out, then we would tailor the audition process or the portfolio. There would be portfolio involved in that. After that initial interview, all that would be explained to families coming in. It's coming up on spring, so we've had almost a year under our belt here, and I can tell you that I'm in contact with the students quite often. I enjoy coming to the School of the Arts area and speaking with them. We kind of chuckle a little bit about not being able to get them to go home in the evening. We have students that are in the middle of, for example, of designing a gown or a suit, and we're doing something in the class, and I'll see them in the hallways at 6 o'clock and say, "Where do you belong?" And they're saying, "Oh, we just had to leave. We really would have liked another hour, but we'll be back tomorrow." So, they are asking me, can we open more time in the weekends? And so obviously they are students that are incredibly enveloped in what they're doing and engaged, and they really, from the feedback I get from students, they're very happy with the classes. And oddly enough, maybe I shouldn't say oddly enough, but we found that they were doing incredibly well in their other classes as well. Even students that didn't have interest in other classes, maybe always didn't do that well, are keeping up grade levels that are for them have not been seen in the past. So they feel that their art classes have given them a boost. They really are very happy to come to school. They're excited about the trips that they've gone on. We've exposed them to some New York experiences, taking the students through the city, whether it be with the fashion design or the performing arts. They've met people in the field. We've Skype in folks from Los Angeles every once in a while. We've done some really great experiences. We've provided really great experiences through Skype and letting them dialogue with people in the fields. So they are really, I think, very, very happy and enthusiastic about getting the opportunities that they have been able to get this year. A parent that approached me not long ago and said that their child is a very good student, but just not happy in school. They were thinking of dropping out. They were trying to convince their child that they didn't want them to drop out. They tried everything they could. Child had no interest in school. She has gone through the School of the Arts this year, and mother called me a little bit ago and said, I don't know what happened, but she can't wait to get to school. She can't wait till next year. She's incredibly excited about what she's experienced in the School of the Arts. She's already been in contact with some universities about what she wants to do and where she wants to go. So it's been a complete turnaround, and I think that's because what we see in students is if you can let them, once again, immerse themselves in something they have an interest in and they have strength, and they start to feel success, it not only brings up their excitement about what they're doing, it also, I think, spreads to all their experiences in school. So they've done well in all their courses because they see a relevance also. These students see that when I leave here, I think I want to go here or there, this university, that university, and this is what I want to pursue. So we've opened up those options and showed them, I think, what they're learning now is going to be very relevant to what they want to do. I know in just short term, we've had some students who otherwise told me they would not have ventured to try out for some community theater, area theater, that they gave them the impetus to do that. And I have one student who just recently has been in a production outside of school that his parents are very proud of, and I think it's been a great experience for him. So those are just some of the doors that start to open up for the students, and I think that's something we'd like to see continue and grow. Well, I think the sky is the limit, and I think we're finding that we open this door, and when you look through that door, you see so many opportunities to network with institutions, with other schools and universities, and institutes that run arts programs that say to us, we certainly can help each other. We can partner with you. Community folks, talented folks, folks in the field. Those are all people that our students, if we did not have this school, these students would not be exposed to them, would not have the gift of their expertise and building relationships with them. So to me, as we grow this program, I think the sky's the limit in the sense that we can start to bring in all realms of the arts. And I think, the more students that we can take that we feel will benefit from this, then that will be what we will do. Students in the School of the Arts will have the benefit of working with certified teachers, highly qualified teachers in the area of the core subjects. So they're going to get a foundation and a very solid background in core subjects. At the same time, we have practitioners from the fields. We have experts in the fields of whatever art course students are taking. Those folks come in and bring with them a whole nother realm of expertise in a sense of networking, of firsthand knowledge of their craft, of their backgrounds. And I'll give you a good example. Once again, I'll go back, just take our fashion course. We have a full-time teacher in there, as well as our fashion design expert, who is actually a renowned fashion designer. He is, so far this year, exposed students to various experiences in New York City, visited Project Runway, talked to directors there, visited the garment section in New York to see exactly how that unfolds and all the jobs and opportunities and careers that are involved in the whole garment district itself, the marketing end. They visited they visited stores that retail some of the famous designers' products of folks they had just met. So it was a start to finish type of experience for them. They also, on a regular basis, I'll give you a good example. I know I walked in last week. They were Skyping with the director from Project Runway. Those folks were looking at our students' products and actually looking at the gowns that were designed and other pieces that were designed and critiquing them with the students. They talked about what they look for in a design. And so these are opportunities that our students get firsthand. So somebody's not saying to them, I think if you do this, you'll have to do. This is actually a person that directs, or a person that is a fashion designer, or it is a person in the field saying to them, let me look at what you've done and let me tell you what I think you need to do or where you need to go. Or, I've sat in on classes where the folks that come in, the artists and residents, give their background to students. Here's how I started out. Here's what I did. Here's some of the other possibilities. So they really do have an advantage of working with people that have firsthand knowledge of the industry, firsthand knowledge of what it takes to get where they need to go, and to work with those folks who do the craft every day. That, working hand in hand with our own staff, creates a really unique program, I think.